Divi is one of the most powerful page builders out there, and because it's powerful, sometimes it may seem overwhelming when you first install it. So the goal of this video is to show you where things are in Divi and how to get started fast. Now, before I begin, I'd also like to remind you that if you buy Divi using my affiliate link, I will give you access to my web design formula course, a course that teaches you step by step how to design professional looking websites with Divi. So another way that I add my colors is by first creating a color palette, and the website I use is colors.co. Let me show you. So this website here helps me generate colors that work well together. So what I would do is I would copy my colors here. So if you click here on this color, you can come over here to your site and paste the color in here just like that. Okay, and once your color is added, you just click away from that, move on to the next color. So this one here is white, and let's say you want to replace this with another color. You can just come over here, copy the hexadecimal value, and you can paste it like that. So as you can see, my color palette here is being populated, and this is how you need to create your first color palette. So once you've added your colors, the next step is adding your API key. So let's go ahead and do that. So to add your API key, you want to come over here to updates. So this is where you add your username and your API key. Now this can be found in your dashboard when you purchase your Divi theme builder. So once you've added these two, they give you access to three main things. The first one is support. So if you are having any problems on your website, if you contact the support team, they are able to log on to your website remotely to fix any issues that may be happening on your website. And of course, it's with your consent. The second reason why you need this API key is you get updates pushed to you every time there's an update, new features, and so on. So you need to have this API key in order for you to get all these updates. Thirdly, you need this API key because the API key allows you to use the pre-made layouts that are released every other week or every week from Elegant Themes. These pre-made layouts help you design websites really, really fast. So these are the main reasons why you need your API key. All right, so the next thing we need to talk about here is these layouts. So if I come over here to layouts, you notice that we can show comments on posts. We can also place thumbs on posts. So you can disable or enable this over here. And over here as well, there are items that you can disable if you don't need them when you are designing your website. So for example, if you create a post, you can say, okay, you know what? I want to show my author name or not. So if you don't want to show that, you can just come over here and disable it here. Okay, so now that we've covered a few settings or a few places that we need to know in our theme builder, let's move on to actually creating the page and show you where all these settings are. All right, so what we're going to do now is to pretend that we're building a page from scratch. So to do that, I'm going to come over here to pages and click on add new. So you're going to get this block editor first. So what you want to do is to just close out of here, give your page a title, and then you want to click here on use Divi builder. So I'm going to click here. So when you click here, there are three options that you get. Now, these three options determine how you're going to design your page. So I'm going to show you how each and every one of these work. So first of all, let's start from scratch because there's a lot that we need to learn about the builder itself. And once you learn these things, it's going to be very easy for you to navigate around the builder. All right, so if I click here on start building, so this opens up this modal which says insert row. So this is your structure. This is the column structure of the elements that you need to add on your page. We can have one single column, we can have two equal ones, three, and so on. So if I add these three equal columns, you notice now that I have now insert module. So this is where I can add my module. So we can decide whatever we need to add here. So let's say you want to add a blurb, you can just do that. And now your blurb has been added. So once it's been added here, the first tab you get is the content. This is where you need to add your content. So if I start typing here, you can see that it's updating over here on the right, which is fantastic. And the same applies over here as well. Let's say I need to get rid of a bit of this text, or I can just type over it. You can see it's updating in real time over here. So while we're here on this content tab, just remember that the content tab is where you add your information that you need on that particular module, okay? And so you can go further now and say, okay, instead of having an image, I want to have an icon. So this is where you can just activate use icon, and you can add your icon over here. So the icon you add could be, anything. Maybe let's go with this one. So now that we've added our contents, the next step now is the design. So we need to stylize this and make it look beautiful. So to do that, we click here on the design tab, and this is where you can target every single item. The easiest way that I found to target anything here is to hover over here and click on this paintbrush icon. So when you click on that, it goes to that particular item that you need to edit. Okay. So now that we are here, you have now all these different options. You can change the color. You can also change the size. Here we go. I can reduce the size here like that. I can also align it to the left. I can align it centered, and icon placement, I can leave it at the top. I can also have it to the left. So you can see here, there's several ways that you can style this icon. Okay, so now that I've shown you how to style the icon, the next step now is to work on our heading. So let's say I want to make some changes to the heading. Again, we're going to click here on this paintbrush. Okay, so when you click on that, now we can change the font. So I can choose my font here. I can make it bold. I can also change the color. So let's say we're going to choose blue. We can also make it all caps. And we can also increase the size here. So you can use the slider, or you can just click here and the size increases. Next, we want to stylize the paragraph text. So I can click here, go to my body font, go to Poppins. I can increase the size a little bit. I can change the color. So you can see here that it's very, very easy to go in and make my changes. So now I've changed my color here, and now I can save. If I need to duplicate this, all I need to do is to hover over it, click on this button here, and now that has duplicated it. Okay. And then this handle here, I can move it, and this is a pure drag and drop system. And I can duplicate it one more time, drag it over here. And let's say I want to change this icon. All I have to do now is to go into this particular item that I need to change, scroll down, image and icon, and I can update my icon over here. So let's say I want to go with this one. You can see here my icon is changed. And if I want to change the content, all I have to do is to come over here to text, change your content, and pretty much this is how it works. So when it comes to the modules, they work the same. So you are going to have a content tab, a design tab, and the advanced tab. So let me show you now what happens here on the advanced tab. So if I come over here to the advanced tab, this is where you can add your CSS ID and classes. For those of you that are good at CSS, you can add your CSS ID, your custom CSS here. So you can target each element here by adding your CSS directly. Okay, there's also a tab here for visibility where you can set your overflows, and also you can have your transitions. You can do your positioning. We also have scroll effects, so you can have things moving about as you are designing. So you can set things here to move around when you are working on your design. So let's say you enable a vertical motion here. You can see now that we can adjust it here. And when people are using your site, that item there that we've set up, you know, we can set all the parameters here and just make sure that our design here is matching everything that we are working on. So you can see here by moving it about. And now when we save it, so when you scroll, and this page is big enough, you will see that this will be moving about. So that's how you add animations on it. And these are the three main tabs that we have in the Divi Builder. Now that we've gone through the modules, let's move on now to the rows, because the rows also have their own. So to go into the rows, what you need to do is to just hover over here and click on this gear icon. This will take us now into the rows. So the rows also have the three tabs: the content, the design, and this advanced tab. So the content here now is targeting the rows themselves. What we can do here is we can add our background color. So let's say you want a background color here on the row. You can see that I've added my background color. And let's say you want to change it, maybe make it lighter. You can just use this color area here. Now, there's also one thing that I forgot to tell you, and that is when you start using new colors, if you click here on recent, it will show you all the recent colors that you've used here on this little tab here. Okay. All right. So now that we've added our color, we can then go to our design here. We can go into spacing, and let's say you want to add some padding. We can add padding there, top and bottom, left and right. So you can see here that this is very versatile. Now you can also use this dial here to add more padding. Let's do left and right as well. So you can see here, This is also working well. And this is how you're stylizing. So this is the row settings. Now there's also other settings that you can do here, and that is the sizing. So the gutter width here is the space between the columns. So you can reduce the space between the columns by doing that. Okay, it only goes up to 4, but usually I like it at 2 here. We can also equalize column height. So when you have elements in each column, you can also equalize them. And this just makes sure that everything is in the same line. You can also adjust the width. So if you want that row to be smaller, you can play around with the width here. There is also maximum width. You can also align it. You can also have your minimum height, your height, and so on. So these are the design elements that you have for the rows. If I come over here to advanced, similar to what we had with the modules, you're going to see that we have the CSS ID and classes, custom CSS, visibility, scroll effects, and so on. So these pretty much are the same, but they have different functions depending on what you are working on. Now that we've covered the rows, let's move on now to the sections. But the sections here can also be adjusted independently of everything else. All right, so now to go on to the sections, I'm just going to save this, and then I'm just going to hover over here. Now you can see that we have this blue. So there's several items that we can do here. We can duplicate this, and now we have the exact same one here on the bottom. But if you want to go into the actual settings, all you have to do is to click on the section settings. Now, again, you have your content, but as you can see here, we don't have quite a lot over here on the content tab, because this is just a container that is keeping your information. So all we have here is the background. Okay, so pretty much that's all we can do here. We can go in, add a darker background. Let's add a darker gray so that you can see the difference between our sections here. So that's pretty much what we can do. But over here on the design, we also have our design elements. So we can come over here to layout. We can add our inner shadow, but I don't usually use this. Next, over here on the dividers, we can add a bottom divider, top divider, and they're different divider styles. Let me just show you one of them. So if I do that, you can see that I've just added that divider, and I can also increase my height here or reduce it. Okay, so there's different styles that we can add. So this is what we have here on the dividers. Next, we also have sizing. So I can also play around with the sizes of my section. So let's leave this on auto. And we also have minimum height, maximum height, and so on. We also have border settings here where we can go in and add a border around our section. Okay. And we can also choose the colors of the border if we need to add that. And we also have filters here. So if you want to play around with the colors, you can always go in and adjust everything over here. Right. Now let's move on to the advanced tab. And similar to what I've been showing you before on the rows and also the modules, we also have the CSS ID, CSS, custom CSS, visibility, position, and scroll effects. All right. So that's what we have here. I'm just going to save this. And now you can see this is our design. Now that we've covered the builder itself, let's now take a look and see what other settings we have. So if I click here on expand settings, you can see here that we have these 3 icons. Now, the purpose of these 3 icons is for us to be able to visualize how our design is going to look like when we design for mobiles. So if I click here on the tablet view, you can see now that, oh, okay, this is how our content is going to be. And you can see that animation that I added there is looking great, but you know what? It's a distraction for now. Let's delete that, and let's just duplicate that and just add one in there. Okay, so you can see what this will look like in the tablet view, and you can also play around with these because, as you know, tablets are different sizes, so you can stretch this and really see how this will look like. Okay. Next, you can click on this drop down, and there are so many options that we have here. So let's say you have a Galaxy S7, you can just come in here and have a look at what this will look like on a Galaxy S7. Okay, so if there's any adjustments that you may need to do, you can just go in here, make those adjustments, save it, and you're pretty much good to go. So this will also go to the phone view. And here, there's different types of phones. You have all your Huawei. You also have your iPhones. So here is iPhone 6, 7, and 8. So you can see here, this is what it will look like. Now, the really cool thing here as well is you can also flip this around and see what it looks like in landscape mode. So this is what it would look like on an iPhone 6, 7, or 8. And you can also go in here and look at other versions. So here we have iPhone X, XS, 11 Pro, and so on. So again, if you flip this, this is what it will look like. All right, so now that covers these tablet views. Now let's go ahead and take a look and see how we can work with the pre-made layouts. So to access the pre-made layouts, let's just publish this page because we might want to use it later on in another example. So now that we've done that, we are going to now exit the Visual Builder. So to access the pre-made layouts, you can either access it on an existing page, or you can access it when you're building a brand new page. So let's do both of that. So if you wanted to add a pre-made layout here on this page that you're working on, all you have to do is to enable Visual Builder. And this is working on this on an existing page. So once you activate your Visual Builder, if you click here on Expand Settings and click on this plus button, you now have options to add your pre-made layouts. Now, the pre-made layout library has different categories. We have art and design, business, education, events, and so on. So if you click here on events, for example, this will just drill down and give you all the layouts for the events. And there are so many of these layouts. We have 1,525, and these are all packs. So if you wanted to design a website, which is pretty much a restaurant website, if you click here, it will show you all the pages that you have in the pack. So we have the About Us, the blog, the contact, the gallery, and so on. So if you wanted to add this layout on this page, there's two ways you can do this. You can replace existing content, or you can append this design on your existing design. Okay, so let's replace existing and say use this layout. So what's going to happen now is it is going to add all the elements of this design on this actual page. Now, this is very powerful because all your sizes, your fonts, and everything is all in that design. So you don't have to go in and worry about the spacing or the padding and so on. Everything is in this page, and this is why these are pre-made designs. And also, these work well with different mobile screens. Okay, so now that my layout has updated, let's take a look now. So over here, you can see we have our images all in place. So all you have to do now, if you wanted to build a website really fast, is to go in and replace this text with your text. So let's say you have a client that wants a restaurant type website. So you would set up a pre-made layout, and you can go in now and update your text. So you can see here by clicking here, I can say only quality food. You can change this, or you can delete some of the text like that. And just by doing this, quickly, you can go in and start making changes to this. Now, remember, I was showing you where to make the changes on this design. So why don't we go in and let me show you how to make the changes to this. So let's say you want to change this image here. You just click on this gear icon. This now takes you into the image settings, and this is where the image is. So if you wanted to add your own image, you can just click here. If you have the images on your computer, you would click on Upload Files, select Files. This will go into your folder structure, upload your picture there, or you can use your existing images, which are in your media library. So in this case, let's say we want to go with this image here, upload image, and now it has been updated. And if you don't want to save anything, you can just close out of here, and now you have your image. And then over here, you can go in and also change the text by clicking on this gear icon. And all the settings, like I showed you, are pretty much similar. If you come over here on the design tab, and you click on this little paintbrush icon, you can go in now and change the colors. So let's say you want this black, and you want to increase the size a little bit. You can just start doing all of that. And within a couple of minutes, you would have updated this layout, and this would pretty much look like your own layout because you would have changed the text, you'd have changed the images, and also the colors if you needed to. If there's any areas that you don't want to use, you can just go in and click on this trash icon, and this will just delete the section, and pretty much it's gone. So this is how you use pre-made layouts. So as you can see, the Divi Builder itself, it may look very overwhelming when you first look at it, but after that, pretty much it looks very, very easy to use as long as you know where to click. And I'm pretty sure that I've given you enough tips on how to get started. Now, I know this is just the basics. I go into detail on my course that teaches you how to design these websites from scratch. So if you want to expand or go into a lot more information about building websites, I will leave a link to that in the video description below. But one quick way is, if you haven't bought Divi yet, you can just buy Divi using my affiliate link, or you can send me an email and I'll give you a discount if you're really interested in designing professional looking websites. All right, guys, that's all I have for you in today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.